guys. Did you know that there are superheroes walking among us? No, they don't have any actual superpowers, but they do dress up in elaborate costumes and try to make the world around them a better place, be it through fighting crime, or just by giving some homeless person a sandwich. You probably haven't heard much about them because they generally aren't the kind of people to step on anyone's toes. While some of them do believe that they have to do what they do because conventional law enforcement is lacking in their abilities, they still try to work within the confines of the law in their superheroing exploits. Cops generally recognize their good intentions, and if they spot them patrolling the streets, they'll more usually insist that they stop what they're doing simply for their own safety. Unlike what we see in a lot of movies, cops aren't going to put things on hold just so they can wage war against these superheroes because they know that there are worse things they have to worry about than civic-minded citizens. With this in mind, I am not a fan of the trope where the evil, paranoid government does whatever it can to trip up superhero activity, instead of, trying to stop the actual villains of the world. And this is just what we get in the American government of the DC universe. It's been 5 years since the Justice League saved the world from Darkseid, and despite the Justice League not doing anything to warrant such suspicion, we have government agent Amanda Waller wanting to form her own anti-Justice League to take them down should they decide to go rogue. So let's take a look at Justice League of America #1 and see just how nonsensical this can get. Our comic opens with two shadowy people we don't know talking about how the Justice League is gaining new members every day. And we see that, once again, this is happening 5 years ago. Remember, 5 years ago is when the invasion of Darkseid happened, and since there's no time discrepancy between that event and these two guys talking, we have no idea how many people have actually joined the League since then. And for that matter, how do they know that the League is gaining new members? Did Cyborg set up a Twitter feed to keep the world updated or something? They talk about how the world is calling them superheroes, and so they'll probably be calling people like them supervillains. And then they go off to do their villainy things, and we never see them again in this comic. Foreshadowing, oh my god. Plotline number 2 brings us back to the present, where we see some samurai-looking guy being hunted by people who look vaguely like Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Our creator wants him dead. That's why we must stand perfectly still while he gets away. Shouldn't we go after him? I mean, I've got super speed and... No, we must stand perfectly still. That's the best way to get him. Can I at least throw a batarang at him? We then cut to plotline number 3 in Amanda Waller's office, where we get some exposition of how she's replaced Colonel Steve Trevor as the leader of Argus, the S.H.I.E.L.D. agency of the DC Universe. She's chewing him out for being more emotionally involved with the Justice League than I guess he should have been, and I don't understand why she feels the need to do so. I'm not a military man, but if you're fighting alongside the same group of people for 5 years, aren't you going to form some kind of kinship with them? Let me tell you something, Amanda. There is no replacing Wonder Woman, or Superman, or Batman. That's why the Justice League of America will never work. Doesn't exactly inspire confidence when you're reading a first issue, and not even the characters are convinced it's gonna work. I have to make it work. We need a Justice League we can count on. And you might think that at this point, she might lay on some exposition about some of the things that have happened in the past that would point out how the Justice League isn't as reliable as they once appeared, but no, that would actually make sense. Instead, she insists that Trevor is the best man for the job of recruiting and training the people she has in mind for her new Justice League of America. So you demote Trevor from being the liaison between the Justice League and the US government because he was too emotionally involved with them, but you're not afraid of him doing the exact same thing with this new Justice League? Trevor says that there's nothing that Waller can do to convince him to join on, and then she shows him a photo of Superman and Wonder Woman making out. Trevor handles the revelation of his old girlfriend being with Supes better than one might expect, but Waller is terrified by this. Wonder Woman's always wanted to change the world. How? What does Superman do when he starts to think the way she does? You want to fill us in on what it is about Wonder Woman's thought process that has you so scared? Well, what happens when this ends between them? You know as well as I do, something like this can only end badly. Or, considering how they've been friends and co-workers for several years now, and how they aren't childishly stupid, they might decide that being friends and co-workers might be the best way to go and get along with each other just fine. I mean, Steve seems to be handling his breakup with Wonder Woman nicely enough, so why couldn't Superman? What about their children? What about their children? Does Kryptonian DNA and Greek god DNA even mix? Trevor thinks she's jumping the gun with this line of questioning, but he's somehow on board with this new Justice League anyway. She then starts to debrief him on who she wants to recruit, starting with Hawkman as their defense against Aquaman. His clashes with the authorities have been escalating. Hawkman will accept our invitation under the pretense that the U.S. absolves his current record and grants him diplomatic immunity to continue carrying on his hunt however he likes. So you don't trust a guy who mostly spends his spare time keeping sea monsters away from dry land, but you do trust a guy who likes to bludgeon ordinary people with a spiked mace and constantly gets into fights with the police? And why are you pitting Hawkman against Aquaman? Since you're already in the practice of hiring criminals to do your dirty work, wouldn't recruiting Black Manta make more sense? I don't see Hawkman being able to do much if Aquaman just decides to, I don't know, go into the water! Next on our list is her anti-Wonder Woman countermeasure, Katana. She's an assassin out for revenge, and frankly, she looks like she'd still prefer to fly the colors of her home country more than those of Old Glory. Because that's what you want on a team of American superheroes, right? Trevor thinks that bringing her on board is a bad idea, and asks what makes Waller think that she'll play ball. We know how to help Katana find the people she's looking for. So in exchange for her services, we'll provide revenge. So in order to keep some people from possibly committing a crime, you intend to hire a known criminal and in exchange for their services give them information and permission to continue doing more crimes? And like with Hawkman, I gotta wonder what good Katana is gonna do against Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman's fast enough to deflect bullets with her gauntlets, and she's the strongest woman on Earth. What the hell can Katana do? Next in line is Vibe, who is allegedly the only person around who can disrupt the super speed of the Flash. I don't know anything about this guy, but these 2 pages he's in demonstrate that he's not sure about himself or his abilities. Because that's the kind of confidence you'll need when you go up in a fight against people who know how to defeat creatures that can kill gods. And again, I don't know all that much about his powers, but according to Waller, he might be one of the most powerful superhumans on the planet. He wields vibrational powers that could, in theory, shake the Earth apart. And yet you're quick to put the fate of the world into his hands more than you are the hands of one of Star Lab's most respected scientists. I believe in him. So should you. Why do you believe in him? What did this kid do to earn your trust that the Justice League didn't? We briefly cut back to that samurai guy from before, where he prays for something to lead him out of the pickle that he's in. And when he doesn't get it, he tells God to go screw himself, which is apparently a regular thing. Because that's the best way to get on God's good side, right? And now back to more dumb. Who do we have in line to take down Cyborg? Stargirl. Oh, goody. Because this comic just couldn't be stupid on its own merits. Now it has to reintroduce the timeless question, what the hell continuity are we following? Before the DC reboot, Stargirl got her cosmic staff, her primary weapon and source of her powers, from Jack Knight, son of the original Starman. Aesthetically, she's more inspired by the Star-Spangled Kid, making her a sort of amalgam of both the Star-Spangled Kid and Starman. Characters who were both members of the Justice Society of America, which the New 52 deems didn't actually happen. So where did this Stargirl come from? Why is this Stargirl getting all kinds of praise and accolades usually reserved for movie stars when the original Stargirl's life was more or less that of Peter Parker's? Why isn't Waller paranoid of her wielding one of the most powerful weapons on the planet? Find the answers to those questions anywhere else but here. Next on the list is Martian Manhunter against Superman. We'll get to that ridiculously questionable choice in a bit. Simon Baz against Hal Jordan, because a car thief with a troubled past can be more easily trusted than an Air Force captain, right? And Green Arrow against Batman. I don't know why Trevor objects to Green Arrow, but he thinks he has a better alternative to take down Batman. Who is it? Catwoman. And I gotta say, that actually makes quite a bit of sense. After all, since Catwoman is neither Batman's physical superior or mental superior, that makes her the perfect candidate to take him down if he goes rogue. Morons! Seriously, what the Flying Dutchman do you think Catwoman can do against Batman? You want to know the worst thing that Catwoman has ever done to Batman? run away and go back to her life of crime when he tries to bring her over onto the side of lawfulness. That's it. She can't fight him physically. She can't outthink him. The best thing she can hope to do is maybe land a lucky punch on him, which distracts him for just long enough for her to scamper away. I'm sure that'll come in handy when Batman goes nuts and tries to take over the world, right? And she takes up Trevor's offer to join the JLA because... I have no idea. Trevor says something about her enemies knowing her real name, but Catwoman was never really the kind of gal who tried to maintain a secret identity, so what kind of leverage is that? You think you could forge them into a well-oiled machine? Probably not. Fix the attitude, Steve, and get Ida on your staff on Martian Manhunter. Find him. We introduce the JLA to the world tomorrow. You and your men get that telepathic shapeshifter who could be anywhere in the world here tomorrow. And make sure that all of these people who have never even met before are a fully functioning unit by tomorrow, too. Waller leaves when she gets word of the arrival of their Green Lantern, and then the Martian Manhunter reveals that he was there the whole time, since he apparently always shows up whenever someone talks about him. Yeah, that sounds trustworthy, right? If your job is getting these people to work together, you're going to need all the help you can get. As opposed to the Justice League, who all banded together simply because the situation demanded it. I don't need help, John. Says the guy who only 2 pages ago said that he didn't think he could get these people to work together. And like everyone else we've seen so far, now we get to see why the Martian Manhunter is a bad choice for this team too. I know why you're really doing this, but if Waller or one of these government lackeys even thinks about making a move against me, I will erase their mind, and then I will erase the mind of every person in this building, including yours. That doesn't scare you, Waller? I mean, sure, go ahead and be afraid of the godlike strength of Superman or the limitless resources of Batman, but you really want to recruit some guy who can wipe out hundreds of minds at a time? So, after Trevor happily agrees to the Manhunter's terrifying threat, he's called into the infirmary where we see that samurai guy from before in his final moments of life. But it turns out he's actually Green Arrow, who apparently went to gather information, while completely unarmed. Huh. It seems he stumbled onto a group calling themselves the Secret Society, but he flatlines before he can say who's leading them. So that was Justice League of America number 1. And there's only one word that can sum it up. Stupid! We have a group of superheroes who for years have done nothing but help humanity, so instead of trying to work with them to make sure that they stay on your side, let's make a new team of criminals, murderers, and far less experienced heroes to try to take them down on the extremely unlikely chance that they decide to take over the world. Sounds like a solid plan to me. There's an ever-growing controversy about the way that women are depicted in comics, one of the more notable ways being how often they're killed for no apparent reason other than to inspire the male hero into action. Now, I am totally against that. But seriously, I hope that somebody kills Amanda Waller before she decides to blow up the world in some desperate attempt to save it.